All right. Chapter... Which one are we on? 18. Oh boy, this was a big one. Now, for this, instead of going through and having the book, I've taken some notes. I kind of jot down in point form some things. I'm going to go down the list and just see if that works. Because when I go through the book, I spend a lot of time just kind of, looking at the page, reading ahead. I sometimes forget. These are very jam-packed pages. So I just have this list. And I'll stop at certain points to kind of give some thoughts on that. But it starts with Quick Ben waking up in his tent, and Talamandus, this acorn-headed stick man is how I picture him, is there to greet him and has news that Capistan has been retaken. So that's good. That's good. That's a relief for Quick Ben. And Quick Ben also plans and expresses this, that he plans on fighting the crippled god. And remember, Kruppa has placed himself as, or has kind of claimed himself for that role, but Quick Ben also. And I'm hoping that Quick Ben's the one that really saves the day, but I can't help but think that Kruppa's going to be always just one step ahead of him, but we'll see. Now, the gods of Barghast, for whatever reason, wish to help Quick Ben. And we've seen that throughout this book. We've seen little things that he's been on his own little side quest, which is so awesome. Helped him out at a few different times. And Talamandus will be Quick Ben's shield as he navigates these warrens. And I think it might be in the next chapter. I'm only at the end of sub-book 3. I haven't even started the next part, so I don't know what else is coming up. But it's so cool as he's going through these warrens. It's like it's poisonous. It's like this Talamandus is kind of like a Chernobyl hazmat suit for Quick Ben as he goes through, opening up the warren, kind of the clearing out the warren a step in front of him and shutting out this little bubble behind him as he goes. And it really takes a toll also on this Talamandus as he's trying to keep up with Quick Ben. The Whiteface clan nation will accompany the Malazans to fight the Panian seer, like we hoped for. Quick Ben moves to a private place to try his warren away from Talamandus. Now we get to Whiskey Jack and Dujek One Arm as they supervise this battle against the Panian Domain forces. You know, there's still, they haven't been wiped out, they've just been pushed back, but there's still plenty of them. And of course, as much as we've hoped, the Malazan tactics win the day. And this Septarch Kulpath is killed in the process. Isn't it interesting that in the first book, when we talk about the Malazans, usually in fantasy books, there's this evil kingdom and everyone's evil in it, and that's just that. Or there's a couple good groups and then they are brought off, and kind of like is what's happening here, actually. But it seems it's just so interesting. I wonder, and remember what happened at the end of the second book with Callum. He and his meeting with Lacine. There's just always something more to all of these people. But I do like that the Malazan tactics win the day. Corlat takes Whiskey Jack to Dujek's command tent, and they encounter a ghostly kind of holodeck, sort of hologram projection, I guess, of Quick Ben. Whiskey Jack and Quick Ben argue about what they are to do with the Teniscari. I mean, they are also victims, even though they have been changed and they are quite corrupted. In many ways, they are still children and mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters. And so Whiskey Jack, of course, Whiskey Jack, making us love him even more, if we didn't already, says that they should not be annihilated, but that they should at least be given a fair trial. Now, there's also this interesting moment where I wasn't totally sure. I kind of read through it pretty quickly, this chapter. But there's this interesting moment where Corlad is suggesting, I think, that even though they have been outlawed or whatever from Lacine and from the Empire, that she still has her eye on them. And as far as I understand, this must be this Artanthos. From the beginning, it seemed like it's this Artanthos standard bearer guy. But that perhaps there are these Imperial claw agents or otherwise that are inside of this this group. And I can't tell who it would be, other than I don't super trust Dujek. I don't know if that's silly for me not to, but he's the one that of these leaders calling the shots that I tend to not connect with the most, for better or worse. Now we get to, let's see, we get to Kruppa and Silver Fox, and they start to feel this kind of rift forming between the Malazans and Kaladin. I always call them Alamander Brood, but Kaladin Brood's army. And people are starting to wonder about that. Maybe even Kaladin Brood is wondering if the bridge burners and them are still working with Lacine. And Kaladin Brood is his whole goal in life basically is to not only do this stuff for Burn, but to be against tyranny in any of its forms. And if it's going to be them with the Empire, then really he's going to kind of take up arms again, it sounds like. But that's kind of the tension of this scene. So Animander Rake joins with Brood and with this awful King Calor, or former King Calor, but now king again with no one knowing because of his little deal that he made, and he's still being silent, waiting to strike like a viper, I guess. Remember, when he's going to strike hard, so I'm just waiting for that to happen. And anyway, Animander Rake, they talk about the situation, and Rake explains that the Malazans are the only force willing to destroy the Seer and ensure some kind of peace exists. And even though the Malazans do, they go and they're trying to expand their territory and expand their influence and their oversight of these different places, and Corbel Broach, man, I'm all over the place. Kaladin Brood is obviously against that. But even Rake kind of speaks on behalf of the Malazans. Not that he agrees with them, but that for the time being, it's better for the people. If we're talking about the subjugation of people and their lived experience, yes, we want them to be free, and Rake wants them to be free as well. But for the time being, for the experience of the people, they cannot let this Panian Domain scourge spread everywhere, or that will be worse than if they win and if the Malazans took over. So Brood doesn't trust these guys and thinks once this is done, the Malazans are going to assert their dominance. And Rake is kind of saying, I trust Whiskey Jack. I don't think that's going to happen. But even if it does happen, it's better than the Panian Domain being in charge of everything and having this scourge spread not only to our continent, but everywhere. And remember that it sounds like some of it is spread not only it's already spread in other places. It sounds like the Panion Domain is just one element of this taking place. And I love this because Rake mentions that the crippled god's creation of a new house in the deck of dragons is something that is a major threat, and that Perrin has the ability to deny this. So at this point, we're thinking, well, thank goodness Perrin is there, because at least he's a voice of reason to do this. Now, we'll get back to that. And it's amazing how, even as a reader, I flip-flop all the time on what I think about certain people and what about certain concepts. And that's the mark of a compelling story. I don't know. There's very few things that I am totally sure about. I have my ideas at any given time, but with this, it sounds like everyone wants. It seems like the clear answer is that Perrin should deny the crippled god from being a part of the deck of dragons. Now we go back to Quickben as he's testing Talamandis' shield by traveling through the Warrens, but Talamandis reacts when they come close to Beaucheline and Corbel Broach's area where they are. Recognizes them as the necromancers that had put him into that situation where he was locked before. Obviously, he doesn't want anything to do with these guys. Quickben easily kind of slips past the undead soldiers and this demon who is guarding the entrance. And I love this because he kind of uses these different warrens and that are poisoned, but he's able to kind of make their way through these different areas. And he goes into this warren of stone, which is so awesome because he kind of goes into the stone. And it kind of puts another way of thinking about being in the wall, not being in between two kind of sheetrock or whatever, but in the stone. The only thing hard about doing that is because this stone was a little bit thin, and it's just the mortar that kind of causes some issues. But while you are in this warren of stone, he travels through it as if it's water. Isn't that so awesome? And so he sees this demon guarding the entrance that they need to go past. And Quickben is... I love that even Quickben realizes that he sees some compassion or has some compassion as well for this demon. In other realms, these demons look kind of sad and just more normal, not as frightening. But in the human world, when people look upon them, that's when they have this fiery, frightening look to them. Very cool how this world, very cool how they kind of put some of this in there. And Quickben wants to release this demon. And obviously, Talamandis doesn't want to do that. But he says, I'm going to do it quickly. And... he goes up, says, hey, demon, please don't bite me. He does that, and then the last thing that this demon tries to do is bite Quickben. And it turns out that was kind of the last order, that if someone is to release the demon, it is to attack whoever that was. So it's just really cool. They have all these safeguards protecting them. Not only the undead, but they have these other warrens and this demon and things. And Quickben is able to get away from it. And true to his name, he's able to kind of jump back away from it. And I love the back and forth between Quickben and Beaucheline. Beaucheline immediately is one of the people I am most compelled by, and Corbel Broach. But Beaucheline, I want more with this guy. I was looking at the bookstore the other day, and I went to Steven Erickson. I went to see what was there, and I saw some book 2 or whatever of the travels of Beauchelain and Corbel Broach or something. So that's not in the main series, but I'll be definitely going to that eventually. And also Beauchelain, as I'm also writing on the side when I'm not reading, really my goal for this channel isn't really about the channel more. This is an outlet, but it's really more about my own writing. Beauchelain and just this cold kind of way about him really started to unlock some other ideas for my own thing, which I appreciate. I love the way Quick Ben and Beauchelain just have this. They are clearly adversaries, but it is one of those things where they're just going to have a drink first while they talk. And there's this moment where we have Beauchelain there talking with Quick Ben and this raven, who is clearly Corbel Broach. We all knew this as soon as we get to the thing. Quick Ben realizes this. Beauchelain is kind of commending Quick Ben for being able to get past all these things, these little kind of barriers, and tells Quick Ben that basically Corbel Broach wants him dead. Corbel kind of goes towards attacking Quick Ben, and Quick Ben does this thing that kind of denies Corbel as he's transforming back into a person and blasts him. And then they kind of continue with their drinks. And then Beauchelain tells the crippled god, tells Beauchelain about the crippled god moments before he also blasts Beauchelain. So he used 6 of his warrens to blast Corbel Broach, and Beauchelain says, "Oh, that's interesting that you use all of your warrens." Quick Ben was kind of giving off this 6 warren feeling or whatever. He was letting him detect those 6 warrens, and then he blasts Corbel, and then Beauchelain kind of was about to give one of his little speeches saying, "Well, you should have at least left another half for me." And then that's when Quick Ben says he did, blasts him, and that's so cool. Quick Ben uses the Talamandis' power to draw on Hood's path and summons Hood to himself. This is where Hood agrees to hold up his side of the bargain with the Barghast gods and allow Talamandis the freedom to move. So Talamandis was kind of being held by Hood, and Hood doesn't like giving people away. He's being Talamandis is from the Barghast gods, kind of being borrowed by Hood, but the Barghasts are living up on their end, and he's warning Hood, you better live up on your side or else there's going to be issues, which very cool, right? Perrin talks to Gruntle about denying the chains of legitimacy to the crippled god, and decide that there's more to this to think about. I do like this scene with Gruntle because Perrin is not going to rush into anything, and he's not going to allow anyone to overly sway him if he can help it, and everyone wants Perrin to deny Gruntle, not deny Gruntle, but deny the crippled god. And what Perrin says, or what Gruntle says, is that he needs to trust his own kind of gut with things. And he does have this lone voice inside him, one lone voice, telling him that he should accept the crippled god into the House of Chains. And that Gruntle thinks that it's probably a good idea that he goes with his gut. Because, and this is what I have to get my book out here, and he makes a good point. As he's saying this, as he's saying he should accept him into the House of Chains, all the gods, all the other gods kind of, he can feel them recoiling. But it's just that, isn't it? legitimizing. Right now, the crippled god is outside the world of the game, meaning he's not bound by the rules whatsoever. That's what Gruntle says. Wise. You're right, Abyss, take me. That's it. I bless the House of Chains, and then the crippled god becomes bound. So at least, I'm instantly conflicted, but that makes sense because I trust Perrin and Gruntle. That makes a pretty good team. I think the super team would be Perrin, Gruntle. I think they need talk. I think they really need talk to kind of see through some things. He has this ability for that could be really useful. Whiskey Jack is in the super team. Really awesome. Really, really awesome. Can't wait to see where this goes. And it sounds like he's going to deny him. Or not deny him. It sounds like he's going to bring the crippled god in. And really make himself enemy number one. At least people are not going to be happy about it. If we weren't sure already, Quick Bench shows up and kind of also echoes that Perrin, whatever he's going to decide, should go with his gut. Whatever his decision is to be, it should be his decision. The time of the ascendants and the gods is kind of going to be pushed aside a little bit or down a bit, and it is this new time where mortals are going to step into the forefront. But we saw what happened with King Calor, which makes me think this could go very, very, very bad again. And we get to this last scene. I think it's the last one with Itkovian. And he's seeing how his gray swords are basically destroyed. They are left withered, not to recover. Out of 7,000 or so, they have something like 300 left, 319 left. And they are going to have to do some recruiting. And this is where he also maybe is going to go to another god of war, one of these northern gods, and thinks, what was it that Heaton called him? Wolf? So it sounds like he may be the new mortal shield for Trake or Treach, and it sounds like a mortal sword has already been chosen. I think that may be in the next chapter, but I think that's already the case. But we don't know who that is. I have my guesses. I would want it to be Talk. And they go to these witches with this recruit, this Captain Norrell, who was a recruit in that first thing, and now she's worked her way up. I think she's going to be so cool. She is going to be the new Destriant. No. Captain Norrell should be the new Shield Anvil, I think. And then there will be a new... I want to make sure I get this right. So there's a new Destriant picked, there's a new Captain, there's a new Shield Anvil picked, and a new Mortal Sword has been picked. So it's not the Mortal Sword of Treach that I'm talking about. That's already been picked. I believe it's the Mortal Sword already of Fenner. Am I getting that right? I'm an idiot. I don't know. But I'm going to just keep going on. But it sounds so cool. Oh, no. Okay, I did go back. They are not being the new Mortal Sword and all them as Fenner. They are they are kind of re-establishing themselves with these new gods. It's not just Ikovian going. They are all going. And they are going to center themselves around around this Tog and Fendere, right? The she-wolf and the male wolf that have basically Talk and Baljag or whoever's inside of them. But they are centering themselves around these wolves. So there's the tiger, gods of war, whatever, and then there's this dual kind of thing with the wolf gods and the gray swords, which makes way more sense. If they're going to be the gray swords, of course they should have been with the wolves. They maybe should have been called something else first, but if this was all planned from the beginning or whatever, then it makes sense. But it makes sense that they are going to be the gray swords. So Velbara, that's the one she is presented by Ikovian to be the mortal sword. They go to these witches and they kind of he wants to make her the new mortal sword. But they say another one has already been found that we don't know about. And we get the idea that it's a he. And I think it's Talk. I hope it's Talk. I think it's implied that it's Talk, which would make him very cool, and would also, I assume, make him even more awesome than the Segula. At least I don't know. But this Valbara, since they already have a mortal sword picked out, is going to be the Destriant. And the Norrell, who she will take on this shield anvil role, which seems brutal. Seems brutal. And I absolutely love their mission statement of sorts. You will require fanatics, Captain. That cast of mind, of breeding and culture is vital. You must search, sir. You must find such people with nothing left to their lives, with their faith dismantled, people who have been made lost. So it sounds like it's so cool because the tiger warriors are ones who fight with this ferocity and rage to protect the young and things like that. And then these wolf ones, they are going to recruit people who have nowhere else to go, it sounds like. And it sounds like these Teniscauri, if anyone is going to join this group, people who are brought low and have been lost and been kind of they've had a rough year or two, it's these guys. And he's telling them that they should show compassion for them and recruit them, even if the other people would rather have them put to death. Remember, he understands them. Captain, Ikovian continued, the Grey Swords shall march with the 2 foreign armies south to see the end of the Panian Domain. You will recruit. You will find the people you seek, sir, among the Teniscauri. So there's this rise of a long dormant god of war. So cool. I really have loved this book so far. Now we get to chapter 19, which if I have a chance, I will do that as well. And hopefully I will be able to get to, 19 and 20. So we only have 2 more chapters, then I'm all caught up. Thanks for listening. See you on the next one.